Over a year of racing in the Integrity Ignite Series, only 5 drivers are now championship eligible as we head to our season finale event. 134 laps separate one driver from the ultimate glory in Integrity competition, and 4 others, of course, defeat. Where they will reside. One driver going to come away with the big title. You've been watching the next level race for the championship all season long, and tonight for our 30th and final race in the Integrity Ignite Series 2024 ends at a familiar location. Welcome back to the Monday Night Tour, Homestead-Miami Speedway, the venue, and tonight it's the Next Level Racing Clash 200. It's an all-out fight to determine who has what it takes to clinch the championship in a winner-take-all finale. All drivers start in a level position, and the best finisher will win. Tonight's grand prize, a $2,000 sim rig courtesy of Next Level Racing, which will be awarded to our championship winner at the time of the checkered flag. Welcome back live on FTN. I'll be your host as I've been all season long, 30 races, and now we're at the very last. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and currently qualifying is on the move for the final time this year. All 5 championship contenders have taken to the track already in practice, and so far, most of which have hit the track at least once in qualifying. As it stands, the regular season champ, Braxton DeWeese, finds himself with the provisional pole position, and it looks like it's 1, 2, 3 so far for those who are in championship eligibility. So far, 7th place and 8th, Nick Tarbuck and Don Stevenson. Your title contenders have all set their laps, and provisionally, it'll be Braxton DeWeese with the pole position. Tom Wetmore is going to be in 4th as it stands. He's the Toyota Supra you're seeing on your screen right now, and he's looking for his first win of his Integrity Racing League campaign throughout both series. 5-time winner last year in the Octane Series, has not yet gotten it done here on the Monday Night Tour, nor the Tuesday Night Tour. He's got one chance today and one chance tomorrow as a championship contender. He'll be getting some extra practice in tonight as he'll be battling Nick Tarbuck tomorrow and, of course, today on the racing circuit. Vinny Tigner is going to be in 7th. The rookie made his Iora Cup Series debut just 2 weeks ago and is bringing a very similar look back into championship contention tonight. While he's not a title-eligible driver, Vinny is, by all accounts, the Rookie of the Year, and he's a top 10 driver week in, week out, and we're hoping to see more of him in 2025. Vinny lies down low in 7th. Cody Smith has been perhaps the best ringer on the season. Not a championship-eligible driver, but he did a wonderful job in Phoenix last week in the Octane Series. Maybe, of course, if those first rounds go better for him next year, the 2022 champ will have a chance to rise back into contention once again. So far, he finds himself 11th. We'll see if there's a little bit more that comes from that car as the night progresses. So far, 20 drivers have taken a time. Justin Morton going to slide out. He's already scored in 15th here, and so his qualifying run is over. Drivers that have officially validated times are getting ready for the starting grid, and it looks like right now every lap time has been set. Not a surprise that a championship-eligible driver is the man that, of course, got the job done and collected the pole position with the fastest lap set in the session overall. Braxton DeWeese and the number 13 team take it up to the top. Pole position for the final time in 2024. Braxton going to seal the deal and get that final starting position. Of course, wrapped championship victory. That remains to be seen. 5 drivers remain eligible, and all of which qualified inside of the top 10. 3 of which inside the top 5, and they were going to start consecutively. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Right now, drivers are taken to the track once again. This is your final practice session of the season. 5 extra minutes, not going to mean all too much. Drivers might make some minor subtle changes. Track conditions are set to change all night long, so perhaps they're going to be adapting to that as we speak. This is Braxton's 4th pole position of the season. Most poles going to Thomas Brescian now. It looks like Braxton going to be tied for 2nd with Rob Ackley, previously tied with Matthew Thunhorst for the 3rd position in that accolade. Nevertheless, as the sun begins to set in the Homestead-Miami Speedway, so does the sunset on on the season. 30 races have brought us to this point, and now your final starting grid is ready to go. In less than 5 minutes time, you'll see 20 plus drivers roll out of the starting grid and onto the racing circuit for 134 laps or 200 miles of action again. Let's get to know your last starting grid of the season here in 2024. It's a sea of deep Ignite orange inside the top 10. All 5 of your championship contenders make up the top 10 tonight. Braxton Wee's going to be the inside of row number 1 with the pole position, and Matthew Thunors will be right there in second. They're going to be separate by about a 10th and a half overall with respect to their qualifying times. Braxton getting the better of Matthew, a 33.041 versus a 33.195. Thomas Bressi then going to find himself in third, JTM second and third as it stands, and Thomas, who now of course has himself the most pole positions, missed out in the most important one. 7 poles, but not tonight for Thomas. He'll be starting third, and Thomas Bressi finds Tom Wetmore right alongside him. Wetmore, the first non-championship eligible driver in the grid, he'll start P4 tonight ahead of Michael Stroll and Jacob Fife, positions 5 and 6. Michael Stroll sees his DIR teammate Rob Ackley just behind him. Domination Intimidation Racing sending 1 driver to this championship finale. JTM sending 2. Vinny Tigner runs alone again tonight in the Reese's for 12. You got Don Stevenson in 9th and Nick Tarbuck there in 10th. Nick runs for DIR, Don Stevenson runs alone, and it's going to be exciting to see them maybe try to make things work out, push through. They won't be starting with their contemporaries, at least to begin this event. You got 11th place, and that's going to be Cody Smith. Blake Gordon is going to be P12, and Brendan Bernhardt will be 13th place with Chad Mikas in the 14th position and Justin Morton in 15th. Chuck Sweeting is in 16th place with Kyle Cooper 17th, and Alan Rawell P18 with Cal Filarski 19th. John Steele then in 20th. 21st place going to Brian McFerrin. Gael Brooks then in 22nd. Boomer Logan 23rd, and Adam Wood 24th and last. In the Homestead-Miami Speedway, a final turnout, and a great turnout at that, for what's been a wonderful season. 12 complete rows make up the starting grid for the Next Level Racing Clash 200, and we cannot wait one final time to go racing again. Drivers still going to be some of which on pit road, most of which taking to the track, and Thomas Bressi right now taking major advantage of which. He right now has the quickest time of all those who have taken at least 1 practice lap. It's a 33.241, a lap time which would have put him exactly where he is right now in qualifying, which is third. So consistent speed right now for Thomas, although it looks like he is off the circuit once again. Justin Morton, his teammate, is looking to get things a little bit stronger than they've been for the second half. While not making it into the second round of the championship fight, Justin Morton has so far put on a pretty good season, composed of 2 race victories, and Morton, one of the best road course drivers in the field, to add to becoming an increasingly stronger driver in the ovals. You might remember his photo finish with Braxton Weiss at Charlotte for 2nd place. It was a wonderful race for him that came down to wreck avoidance and finesse. Homestead-Miami Speedway requires a lot of both, and right now Justin finds himself weaving and bobbing back and forth. Up the track he'll take Blake Gordon, and it looks like that contact will be all for naught. Braxton Weiss is going to set the fastest time in, it looks like, qualifying, but not yet this session. Initial practice is going to show more of the same story. Braxton with a quick time of 33.263 in practice 1, quick time of 33.04 in qualifying, and as the sun has continued to set, track temperatures and conditions are going to be significantly cooler, and the drivers won't have to worry all too much. Maybe you'll see Braxton get a little bit faster. But in this session, Thomas Bressi, the quickest man in your last practice of the year, he's looking to take those lessons learned and move up 2 spots to collect the championship. Every driver racing tonight, including those who are vying for the championship, have never been the Integrity Ignite Series champions themselves. That's an interesting thing to note. Thomas Bressi has been in the final round both times. Matthew Thunors is a former regular season champion. And to add to that, if you look a little bit further back, of course you have Jacob Fife, Michael Stroll, Blake Gordon and company who have been full-time ever since the jump. Keep in mind, none of them have been a champion before. Two champions in Ignite Series history coming into today, one of which, the very first in DJ Stagner, who was championship eligible as recent as last week, was not able to win, and so there went his championship hopes. Second champion, Alec Daffin, the man who was able to storm through the playoffs and get a podium finish in every race, back and forth, the likes of which is a run we've never seen replicated on FTN. 5 top 3 finishes to go from 15th to first in points in only a third of the season. The man who was second place in both those championship runs, he starts third tonight. That's Thomas Bresci, and his teammate starts in second. Braxton Weiss came back after briefly making his entry in 2023, and so he's championship eligible after a regular season championship well earned. Don Stevenson, well, he might just be the dark horse of all. He made it in on one tremendous victory in the round of 15 and rode that momentum successfully to get to this point. Nick Tarbuck is eligible for both championships tonight and tomorrow. And while he's been especially dominant as of late, it took him 27 races to win once on a Monday night this year. It hasn't been easy, but Nick is also in the fight with these drivers as well. The Homestead-Miami Speedway is known for championship racing. For the past nearly 25 years, Homestead, it has been the prominent championship host for the NASCAR Cup Series, Truck Series, and the Xfinity Series, and while relegated to not being that in the real world any longer, it is one of the premier venues to settle the score and figure out who the best driver is over the course of a year. The mile-and-a-half circuit is the only of which fully composed of progressive banking all throughout the United States, and is a fan favorite and a driver favorite as well. They know the rules, they've gone this far, now to settle it all tonight. 134 laps bestowed upon the field for the final time in 2024. Green flag is going to wave. Braxton Weiss and Matthew Thunhorse lead the pack into turns 1 and 2. Welcome for the final time to Ignite Series Racing in 2024. And so Braxton Weiss is going to take that early jump and lead lap 1 to kick off the night. It's going to be 1, 2, 3 for your championship contenders. Matthew Thunhorse right there, of course. Qualifying is going to be a pretty good indicator of where these drivers will be for the first 10, 15, 20 laps. But for those of you who watch live on FTN often, you might know we went to Homestead twice in one night. That was Thursday night, and it was the same combination both times over. Xfinity Series, Homestead-Miami Speedway with the Iora Cup Series and the Highline Racing League. We went that night for 240 laps over the course of 2 races, and of course had 2 different winners as it was 2 different series. River Page came out victorious in the first event, and the second event of the Highline Racing League, it went down to the wire. Eventually, Tyler Hampton was able to come away, and he won it. It's his second win at Homestead. What we have to add to that conversation is that both races were run in completely different condition. The Highline Racing League ran during the day, the Iora Cup Series ran during the night. In the sim anyway. So we're looking at something a little bit different right now. It is the sunset condition to kick off the racing here in Miami, which we did not see in either race before. Conditions have been, for the most part anyway, in the advantage of the driver. Braxton still has the race lead. He hangs it up on the high side. Thomas Bresci is going to lie just behind. Expect these conditions to become increasingly favorable as the night goes on. To a point. They're going to change for the next half an hour at the very minimum. The conditions are going to be accelerated at a 2-time factor, which means for every hour of racing we get, the track conditions change the equivalent of 2 hours. So we're expecting in 30 minutes time the sun will completely set here in Miami, and as a result drivers will be getting accustomed to the nightlife in which you're not going to see the same drivers fast. This is why qualifying so far behind for a driver like Don Stevenson or Nick Tarbuck might not be a death sentence right now. Don is starting in 9th, and Nick right now is going to find himself in 12th. but it by no means indicates whether or not you'll succeed over the course of 130 plus laps. That is a large amount of time and a long distance to go before everything gets fully fleshed and settled out. As a result, you might not be the fastest driver right now when the sun is out, but when those shadows drop out of frame and the stadium lights come on, expect a different composition of the field. Same drivers, of course, you can't do much about that, but you're definitely going to see different drivers taking it up to the front of the field. The same top 10 group might be more or less intact, but I don't expect Braxton or Thomas or Matthew to be the quickest car straight up. Tom Wetmore might be one of those drivers to look out for, or Michael Stroll, or Rob Ackley. The drivers who can go out there and risk it for a race victory, because there is little else on the line for them, short of going out there and collecting the checkered flag. Those are the drivers, I think, if you're going to point your finger to anyone to win the race, those have to be the drivers you'll be thinking of. And we'll see whether or not that ends up being the case tonight. But right now, for those who are running inside the top 10 firmly, who are not in championship contention, there's ample incentive right now to lie back, let the leaders do a lot of the work for the time being, and then come back into the frame later and try to pass them through, whether it's on a cycle or something else. 134 laps also means that we are expecting to see a pit cycle, 2 pit cycles at that, to determine the race winner. If we are to stay under green, or even if we have a yellow flag early on, we are hoping to see green flag pit cycles come into the frame at least by lap 100, at least once. But if we don't, we'll see pit road activated twice for drivers. Estimates show that at about lap 40 to 45, you'll see that first pit window come to fruition. Then from there, you'll have drivers go in at about lap 90 to 100, depending, of course, on when they decide to go in for the first time in this race. 60 lap split is very common in sim racing online. However, tonight we're a little bit beyond the point of 120 laps, which means it's not necessarily impossible to go for it, but it'll be very tricky to go for the route of deciding full on to push for a one-stop strategy. It's a big risk and there is a reward with it, but I highly doubt drivers are going to go that way based on the information we collected last week. These drivers, I think, are going to be very much inclined to be conservative when it comes to their strategy. Side by side, even still, Thomas Bresci looking for the race lead here. Braxton Deweese right there with them. Courtesy of 4 of our 5 championship contenders, we have inside access to all those who are competing for the championship. I'd first and foremost like to thank all those participating. Let's go through them one by one and start, of course, with Thomas Bresci. Driver the number 24. He's got his inside VR cockpit camera enabled once again, and now that he has the race lead, you can see what it's like for him driving. That is exactly what he's looking at on the right side of the screen, mind you. So if you're interested in how it is inside the cockpit for Thomas Bresci, that's not your monitor, that's not his monitor. He is immersed in that field of view. When you put on the VR headset in iRacing, it's as real as it gets. And to add to the sim rig that he won last year, courtesy of Next Level Racing, he is in the perfect position right now to take advantage of not only the sim racing gift he has, but the equipment. He is fully locked in, and it shows as he takes the race lead over the second place driver, and that is Braxton Deweese. Let's take a look at Braxton up next. He does not have a VR headset on him tonight, but you can see the equipment he's working with. He's got the NASCAR steering wheel. You can see it with the yellow, red, and blue right up on the tape, and it looks like for the time being, he's got a good enough run to maybe poke it down low on Thomas Bresci. Hasn't quite gotten there that time by. Nevertheless, Braxton has been inside the confines of the championship race since the beginning of the season. Your regular season champion and pole sitter here. Definitely one of the favorites to win, although this lead battle is getting a little bit further bunched up. Unfortunately, we do not have camera access to Matthew Thunor, so we'll have to look a little bit further down the order if you want to see what's going on. In 10th place, it's going to be the number 29, and Nick Tarbuck, as you can see on your right side of the screen, he's going to have himself that 3-monitor setup, ultra-wide and all, every degree, every angle that he needs, he's got it, and he's got it and then some. That's the big alternative to those VR headsets, getting all the access on the left, center, and right of your screen, and it's a wonderful look, of course, to have, and it looks like Braxton might be going for more of the same as well. So 3 monitors are a very popular choice, and you can see at least a monitor and a half on the frame here for Nick. And he's got himself just ahead of Don Stevenson in the number 47, who's running currently in 11th, lowest of your title contenders. Don, you might see the most prominent background item for him is that Dale Earnhardt plaque, or picture, shall we say, and for the number 47 to Don Stevenson, I think he's going to look to be emblematic of the number 3 all night long. Hope to push through, get some drivers out of his way. And right now, while he's running solidly in 11th, there's a lot of time to go from here, and there's a lot of room to improve. So Don, the focus for him, getting that second win on the season, he came in with, of course, relative to the championship 5, the lowest number of victories. He is the dark horse, and he's made his way through, looking for another chance to come to victory lane. We'll have a focus on all of your championship contenders all night long. That's your first preview as we return to the racing feed. On the bottom of your screen, you'll see Don Stevenson is marked in orange. So is Nick Tarbuck. So is Braxton Weiss. So is Thomas Bressie. And of course, so is Matthew Thunhorst. Your championship contenders are marked in orange and black at the top of your screen. And for those of you intending to watch tomorrow, they'll be marked in blue and black, as of course it's the Octane Series, which we've shown in blue all year round. Interestingly, Tom Wetmore might have some competition for the championship spoiler of the day. Blake Gordon has been running the high side, and he's been running it very well. And as soon as we say that, of course, he goes down to the bottom groove. But if you've been watching the back of your screen, that blue and neon yellow number 19 has been making moves using the top almost exclusively to get up to this point. Tonight, Blake Gordon, not a championship contender, but he does have a lot to look for when it comes to a good, successful run. He started in 12th. He's up to 3rd. He's the biggest mover by a long shot, and he's been using that high groove better than anyone else, and might now be bringing a few more drivers with them. As you can see, working it through turns 1 and 2. Not going to be the most aggressive driver to push up to the air cushion, but it definitely looks like he's found a way to get some momentum, especially working through the middle and the exit of the corner, something that most drivers struggle with. You don't want to end up tapping the wall while pushing the throttle and getting that speed in. I don't think that's been much a worry for Blake Gordon so far. It looks like he's only been gaining on the championship hopeful, and as he gets up to that top 2 battle once again, you can see it's become a battle once more. Braxton Weiss is going to look under to the inside, can't quite get there. Thomas Bressie still remains just ahead, 18 laps in out of 134 here. And for Alentar Images, this number 13 and the number 24 Exalta Chevrolet, same paint scheme all year long. Maybe a few exceptions, but I think you're pretty well accustomed to the looks of both these drivers who have been the dominant men on their respective teams. Braxton not really running with any teammates, but Thomas Bressie, strong support in JTM all season long. Right now, it looks like Matthew Thunhorst, though his teammate, is getting mired back. Currently going to find himself now in the 7th spot. Rob Ackley coming up, as is Vinny Ziegler, Jacob Fife, and the roar of these engines all coming in succession. Not going to make it easy for a driver like Matthew here, especially if he's starting to burn his tires out. Only 19 laps in, you cannot afford to waste your equipment, and even more so, you cannot afford to burn your stuff up when it comes to fuel as well. Going through fuel shouldn't be too much of an issue if you're in the middle of the pack, but tire is another issue in itself. Dirty air, big disadvantage, and currently Thomas Bressie finds himself up and ahead, having to worry little of dirty air, and instead, rather confident with what he has. He made that first move, he got up to the race lead, and so now up 2 spots on the day. Your pole sitter remains in 2nd. Now Blake Gordon is the next man chasing after success and a potential race victory. Would be his 2nd of the season, first of which came at Talladega. And the level of race-winning parity when we talk about the Integrity Ignite Series has been astounding in itself. The final few drivers to have gotten victories includes, of course, Don Stevenson, Nick Tarbuck, not to mention Blake Gordon, Jacob Fife. Now, Fife was able to get his first victory in the Ignite Series earlier in the spring, but it took him a long time to get that second. It's something that we pride ourselves on seeing in the Integrity Ignite Series, race in, race out. The parity has been unreal. 17 winners to this point in a usually 30-car field goes to show that more than half of the regulars have won at least a single race. It's an unbelievable metric metric to look back on and understand this field has challenged itself and pushed itself to the limits, and most of those drivers who are up inside the top 10 have at least one victory to show for. Thomas Bressi, of course, does. Braxton Weiss does. Blake Gordon, Michael Stroll, Rob Ackley, Matthew Thunhorst, Jacob Fife, and Nick Tarbuck. 8 of your top 10 have at least one win this season. And I'll tell you this much, Vinny Tigner and already Tom Wetmore have come pretty damn close. Even looking further back, Don Stevenson, Chad Mikas, Justin Morton, Cody Smith, Chuck Sweeting, all of which who have seen the checkered flag. Interesting how we've seen so many of these veterans come in, race out, and even the rookies alike, all on relatively level footing. Parity has been the name of the game, and winners all throughout the field, not to mention DJ Stagner and Cody Griffin very early in the campaign as well. 23 laps in out of 134, a little bit of a bundle going on. Bresty going to find himself leading over Braxton Weiss, his teammate Matthew Thunhorst now maybe looking to pick up the pieces and make some later gains in this early stint. Race number 1, shall we put it? If we're talking about this race in the form of 3 smaller races, this would be the very beginning. Number 8 of Matthew Thunhorst going to find himself mired in this pack, but it also might help him in managing strategy, something that's going to remain ever important as the night goes on if these drivers are going to race calmly and cleanly. While 2 have pulled away so far into Weiss and Thomas Bresty, rest of the field has to understand how exactly they're going to attack the issue of getting back to the race lead. Gap between Blake Gordon right now and Bresty is a 1.2 second gap, 1.1 behind on Braxton Weiss. And so currently, number 3 of Michael Stroll is going to find himself in the 5th spot. 4th place is going to be Tom Wetmore, and that's going to change rather quickly if the AC Delco Chevrolet has its way. 3 wide with Blake Gordon up top, maybe a minor run with the wall, but as you can see, nothing too crazy, and that's the trick about running up high, getting that air pocket to help you out. This is the battle for the championship, though. 1st and 2nd up in front. These 2 drivers have kept each other, relatively speaking, lockstep since the beginning of this race. While the rest of the field has fallen back further, you can see Bressi and Braxton alike. While the sun beams down on other drivers through the back straight, they're already into turns 3 and 4. They're single file. We'll have to keep a good watch on them, but currently, looks like Thomas has the slight advantage. Up top, Blake Gordon starting to face some troubles. I think he's in the wall once again, and unfortunately, this is a trend we've seen many a time out of Gordon. Even if he does have that ingenious strategy calls, sometimes mistakes are made, tires get shredded, and he's found many good top 5 nights out of the top 15 when all was said and done. And hoping not to see that from Blake Gordon in his final night this year. Of course, it's everyone's final race, but a brand new look Blake bringing on with this number 19 Lowe's Chevrolet just a few weeks prior in Tornado Alley in Kansas. And bringing back this paint scheme, which is not only iconic in the NASCAR Cup Series world, Jimmy Johnson and his 7 NASCAR Cup Series championships, but you have to think about how good a driver has to be at Homestead to have 7 championships in the 21st century, where for Johnson, every year in his full-time career, except 2020, the championship finale was hosted at this very circuit. So Johnson, one of the most well-esteemed drivers to get the job done at Homestead, not only for victories, but for championships, something very few drivers quite understand, the art of Homestead. I think Hendrick Motorsport has had a crop of talent that have done so better than anyone else. Jimmy Johnson might be the first and foremost example. He's won 7 championships at this circuit, more than any other to have done the sport in any capacity, whether it is the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, or anything of the sort. Maybe the next best coming would be the number 8 right now, the NASCAR Cup Series, and Tyler Reddick. He's a 2-time Xfinity Series champion, and he won this, of course, championship here twice over. Once for Junior Motorsport, and then once for Richard Childress Racing. Tonight, the number 8 is back up to 4th. Matthew Thunhorst has gotten away from all but one driver in this gaggle of drivers. Tom Wetmore is now the man that leads pack number 2. Matthew's gotten his way back up out of the crowd and out of the panic, shall we say, to keep spots. However, the question is, how does he gain the illustrious first position? Right now, it does look like this race is going to be a race to the checkered flag to win the title. And there's No ifs, and buts, or anything of the sort about it. With Thomas Bressi leading and Braxton Deweese in second, there's little else you can do right now but overtake them to get that championship victory. Title format is pretty simple. Best finisher wins, and only 5 drivers have made it here. So a quick refresher for those of you who were not with us last week. Well, here's a look at your top 5. Those who made it in, they're labeled in green. Those who did not are labeled in red. Fife, Gordon, Stroll, Ackley, DJ Stagner, the initial champion. Well, those 5 were eliminated. DJ's not racing, and the other 4, yes, they are, but they're not championship eligible. Mick Tarbuck, Don Stevenson, Thomas Bressi, Matthew Thunhorse, Braxton Deweese are the 5 tonight to look out for. And so far, they've done a pretty good job up at the head of the field. Let's talk about those who started a little bit further back, though. Currently, we are seeing some moves out of Nick Tarbuck. He's up in a 6th, and so he's definitely made his way up further than where he initially found himself. That's a good thing to see for the driver, that number 29 team. Little else can be done right now but continue to gain. When you start from the bottom, the only place up is to go higher. Take a look at the bottom right of your screen right now, and you're going to see Nick Tarbuck. If we want to take a look on board now with 29, he is continuing to make gains and now finds himself sliding low on the number 36 of Jacob Funk. Coming down the front straightaway, Nick so far 10th to 6th, and given a few drivers falling back, including Blake Gordon, now Tarbuck is the biggest mover on the day. He's made his way up now, a total of 4 positions, and is looking for his 5th, which might be his 6th if he gets up to Matthew Thunhorse, who's just ahead of him. A little bit of swerving back and forth. Jacob Fife goes low on Thunhorse, and now Nick is going to follow the both of which through. Number 29 is going to drop to the bottom, all the way down to the paint on the apron, and not going to go a hair lower, and he's going to try to keep himself in tow with those who are just ahead. Going to be taking a look on the bottom right of your screen for a little bit more of the insight championship drivers, as well as our full screen multi-view mode for all the action of the dying laps of this race. Now the 29 of Nick Tarbuck goes low, Matthew Thunhorse up top, and it looks like this is the battle for the 5th spot. Jacob Fife got by for 4th. Now Nick will be getting by for P5, and this is what we mentioned about conditions changing, drivers changing. Right now, it looks like Nick has been one of the strongest as the lights have gone out. He's gained now just to get up inside the battle for the 4th spot. Tom Wetmore has definitively gotten away for 3rd in the meantime, though. There's really nothing else to say about that battle. Not much else in contention. Blake Gordon going to be up there with Cody Smith and Chuck Sweeting in the number 75. Chuck has been running in the number 75 all season long. Same paint scheme tonight as he has since the beginning. However, those pink numbers, the number 75, that is indeed different. And he finds himself alongside the white and pink 47 of Don Stevenson. October Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and once again, for all those watching on FTN, this is something we highlight each and every October, and every series does a wonderful job of bringing a few drivers up to the forefront of the cause. Tonight, Chuck Sweeting is one of which. So we highly advise and implore you to check out what's going on October all throughout the month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and many of the drivers here, personally or otherwise, have known of or been afflicted by individuals who have been fortunately subject to breast cancer. Nevertheless, if you want to check out a little bit more, we'll talk about it tomorrow night. Tom Wetmore going to be racing in the number 51. We've spoken to him before on the matter. Chuck Sweeting is in that pink 75, as is Don Stevenson, and you can see the pink ribbon on it tonight, and all throughout the car, on the hood, on the side panels, on the rear end, it's pink and black and white all throughout for Stevenson. A very familiar look to what we've seen since the jump. Don right now finds himself in 14th. Looks like things haven't gone all too well so far for him gaining spots, but he's got a lot of time to go from here and should find himself on the up and up as he gets by Blake Gordon in this battle. Michael Stroll, Rob Ackley, side by side, the teammates for Domination Intimidation Racing. 2024 overall was a major regroup year, especially the second half for DIR, who lost Michael Stroll for the first 7 races of the campaign, only for him to return in triumphant fashion and eventually get a victory at the Pocono Raceway. While not the best of efforts for Michael Stroll, that's not due to a lack of trying. His numbers are hampered largely by just not having the quantity of races coming under him. He definitely had the quality with 5 podium finishes this season in a limited schedule. Michael Stroll is a driver we have thought of time and time again as a championship contender to be in this series. He just has not made it to the final round yet, And that's the one thing that's hampering him. He's seen victory lane before. He knows what it's like to get it done, and he has a team around him that is built up year after year to go out there and fight for the title. They're doing so once again tonight, and if Michael Stroll can get a full season of 30 races under him, I think there's a real chance you're going to see this number 3 team back on top very soon. Same goes for Rob Ackley. Tremendous season for him this year. He turned it around and got some much better playoff momentum than 2023, and while only matching his total with a lone victory throughout the regular season campaign, making good point stays especially valuable. That's the name of the game for Rob Ackley. That number 22 runs in 7th here, just behind Matthew Thunhorst. Nick Tarbuck is getting up to Tom Wetmore. Wetmore, though, is 3 seconds behind your overall race leader, Thomas Bressi, still holding the fort up and ahead. Braxton DeWeese is there in 2nd, and the gap between those two is still 2 tenths as we speak. Pit road due to be very busy very soon. 41 laps in out of 134, and so far no driver has decided to come in for pit service. Boomer Logan, the only driver tonight who is not a starter. He registered and is going to be your off-track admin in case of something that happens on the circuit. John Steele is going to be 4 laps down. Cal Filarski is 3 laps down. Looks like they just decided to go in, although it does not appear it will be anything related to service. Blake Gordon, unfortunately, we've seen this many a time before. He is falling down the ladder and fast. 16th place now for Blake, and what looked to be a promising night to fight for the podium has all of a sudden become, as we've said, outside the top 15 and currently still fading back. Blake is going to wiggle, and you can see a little bit of damage on the right side, although it doesn't look significant. That could be some suspension damage, which is greater than meets the eye. Unfortunately for Blake Gordon, it means it'll be another season in which a few missed opportunities along the way might be the difference between contending for the championship and going out there and perhaps winning it, and multiple mistakes knocking him out prematurely. Nevertheless, for Blake getting that first victory this year, major in Talladega, it couldn't have come in a better place as Brendan Bernhardt, number 81, goes by. Dever Racing, now teammates are together, and not often we see that, but now Brendan Bernhardt with a clear advantage in pace over Blake Gordon and the position alike. Vinny Tigner coming up on Rob Ackley once again. Vinny's number 12, a different look to finish off the season. We see him on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays now. Vinny Tigner, one of the most, shall we say, versatile drivers in this FTN sphere, and one of the rookies you got to look out for in 2024 and beyond. Now we talk about his career in the Iora Cup Series just beginning as the Ignite Series says goodnight until 2025. Vinny right now runs in 8th, and overall when it comes to the regular season standings, he stands in 13th position. 1 pole, 5 top 5s, and 9 top 10s. He's a driver who has made quite a good season out of what he's had, and I think that's the big thing, taking what he's done and moving on with it. He's taken so far a total of 26 races, so most drivers ahead of him have not competed in as many. The only 2 drivers ahead of him in the championship that have competed in less are Michael Stroll and DJ Stagner. So Vinny Tigner, quite the anomaly in that he's missed a few races and still finds himself thoroughly successful. I think that's something that's going to really build up with time. When you make those 28th, 29th, and 30th races on a season, then you're in a much better spot than most of those competitors around you. Actually, let's talk about that number. Overall, a total of 6 drivers have made all 29 races to this point. And Thomas Bressi is one of which he's up and ahead right now. The leader, Matthew Thunhorst, has also made all 29, as has Braxton DeWeese. So 1, 2, 3 in your championship right now, they've done so. Additionally, Rob Ackley, 29 races for him in the number 22. Chuck Sweeting, now you might not expect this, but yes, the number 75, all 29 races, some of which a little bit more out there, and others you might know he got that victory in Texas, but otherwise he's been a little bit quieter, but he's been here every week. And finally, with that, you've got the number, well, 73, Kyle Cooper. And currently Kyle's going to find himself 20th, one lap down. But Cooper's been with us since the beginning, has made every race. And so 6 drivers with perfect attendance this year. And they will cash that check and get themselves the extra brownie points for coming away with 30 races completed. Thomas Bressie, of course, looking to not only complete this race, but come away with a championship. As Braxton Deweese, I'm sure, agrees. Nick Tarbuck right now might be in the best position to go out there and win if there's a caution. Something to keep in mind. He's in 3rd place right now, and so if anything were to occur, he would benefit profusely. Now, 47 laps in, drivers are coming down to pit road for regular service. Tom Wetmore, Adam Wood, both of which just went down and in. And this is what we talk about when we say the 2-stop strategy. 45 to 50 laps for your opening window, and so that window, it just opened. Thomas getting out on the way, going to find himself adjacent to Rob Ackley and Jacob Fife as he fades through the order. He'll be 1 lap down, and as we look at the front of the field, there's Justin Morton fighting with Rob Ackley once again. Most drivers have decided not to go in just yet, which leaves me intrigued first and foremost as to whether or not drivers want to stretch it. Stretching usually is something that's done to a driver's advantage, even if they are not going to go all the way, but Jacob Fife decides to go for the undercut here, and I think that's a signal, if anything, that everyone's going to come down and in sooner than later here. The overcut, as we sometimes say, it's not usually too beneficial. Undercut, if you're extreme with it, you're going to be off the cycle and might have to go to another pit stop, which is going to cost you almost a lap being full, something you do not want to do as it stands. Thomas Bressie with a half-second lead overall compared to Braxton Deweese. First and second position is going to be held now over Nick Tarbuck and company. Nick is 4 seconds back on Braxton, and then half a second up is Thomas Bressie, the man who leads the way. Michael Stroll is going to be there in 8th. You've got 7th place in Rob Ackley and 6th there in Justin Morton. These 3 are going to be bundled up by some second and a half at the very most. Watching out for the single file groove, which was put together early on. That's going to give you some signs, and it looks like they'll make some passes. Vinny Tigner is going to come in with Matthew Thunhorst, as does the 29 of Tarbuck. Nick makes his way through. It looks like a little bit further back, you got Chad Mikas, Brendan Bernhardt, Gael Brooks, and all come through together. 51 laps in out of 134. And now, with that being said, pit road, that's the big moment. A mass exodus of drivers, but not your championship leaders up and ahead. Top 2 have decided to remain out until now. Thomas comes in, Braxton does not. So, Braxton Deweese going to make an interesting call here in the number 13, deciding to stay out for the time being. He'll give it perhaps at least 1 more lap. Not necessarily sure yet, not seeing a signal from the 13 team. And so, going to lie back and stay out for a little while longer. Let's see what the call is here. Looks like he's going to be slowing it down, making it to pit road for Braxton's first pit stop of the night. The last driver to decide to make it down and in. Thomas Bressie's getting on the way, as is Chuck Sweeting. Looks like a calm and collected pit road entry for the number 13 team. Nothing to worry about. Braxton will get back on the way without incident. So the number 13 team is going to lose the lead, and Rob Ackley, new race leader all over again. Rob, though, is going to find himself on significantly older rubber, and you saw how quickly there Matthew Thunhorst made the move, and already has put him more than a second and a half behind on the number 12. Well, there comes Vinny Tigner, also going to try to make a quick pass. 53 laps in out of 134 here. Braxton Deweese, Justin Morton, and it looks like Thomas Bressie. Bressie's going to be coming through right now on Braxton, and you can see Thomas has the advantage, although this is where it becomes interesting. How much time can he pull before Braxton gets up to speed? Right now, Braxton is like a blip in the radar as we look from the rear end perspective of the 24, but that's not to say he can't get back up there, because currently looks like Thomas Bressie finds himself behind only Tom Wetmore and Blake Gordon, but Braxton is about 2 seconds off of the 24 right now. 2 seconds, 1 lap of fresher tire. Is that one lap enough? That's something we don't quite have the answer to yet, and really, I think Braxton's going to get the answer for us on the circuit. Number 13 going to take the risk of going down a little bit later and hoping to use that newer rubber to his advantage. Corner after corner, you'll see the tires decay, but also you have to think about the track condition, which has ever changed as the night's gone on. The home of the championship race, it was last year. When you talk about, of course, what we saw in the Ignite Series, no, it was not. Well, we talk about the Ignite Series, they had 2 seasons, and they decided to split it up. The overall championship, Homestead was involved, but remember, it was a 15-race split. The first one came in Charlotte Motor Speedway. Phoenix was the second, and Alec Daffin won that second championship. DJ Stagner won the first. Last time we saw the Homestead-Miami Speedway on the calendar, well, it was in 2023, and it's been a while for these drivers. Braxton Deweese, as a matter of fact, was not with us here. Conditions have been shifting, but you also have to think about the package. The intermediate package for the NASCAR Xfinity cars, it's shifted drastically on iRacing here. 56 laps in plus. We're starting to see those differences that time by 33.921 for Braxton Deweese, nothing all too crazy. His lap times have remained relatively stable over the last few. His quickest lap overall in this event, well, looks like in the race session anyway, was his third lap at 33.565. As it stands, his last 2 laps on new rubber, 33.804 and a 33.921. So Braxton not going to be setting some record-shattering laps. Matter of fact, they're not the best laps he's put down on the track yet. But as he comes across the line again, tires are still getting warmed up, and that was a 33.823. More in line with the first lap he ran, but we'll see if he can catch up to Thomas Bressi. Finds himself a little bit slower lap after lap, about a tenth of a second off each and every time by. His fastest overall lap is a 33.48, ran on lap 3. As it stands, Tom Wetmore, your race leader, has decided to stay out a little bit longer, and so now going to have himself the advantage. And when we talk about staying out longer, he'll have to up next to go all the way. 11 laps into his run already and 58 laps into this race. He'll have to go until perhaps lap 100 to make things very safe. 58 laps in out of 134. Wetmore seeing that race lead gap shrink slowly but surely. Take a look now in the back end of the 08 team as Thomas Bressi gets closer. The lead has diminished. Thomas Bressi now within 3.5 tenths of the number 08, Tom Wetmore. And now the battle of the Toms is going to be perhaps your final battle for the lead in this stint. Not to say the race is over, but we talk about this stint and it is a different conversation from the race battle for the win. I think right now for Thomas Bressi, he's in a much better spot than Braxton Deweese. Braxton is in 7th here and now facing some heat from Matthew Thunhorst. Matthew's going to go up high and Braxton Deweese is going to have no choice but to lie below him. The number 13, which has the newest rubber of all those in the field, it looks like right now that new tire might not actually be coming into much play. Mind you, track conditions have continued to get better, cooling off as the nights progressed. That might mean that tire wear doesn't play as much a role. Relative humidity is sitting at 53%. We're going to monitor that as well as the night goes on. Track conditions are going to be ever shifting, and 61 laps in, well, looks like there's a new race leader. Thomas Bressi takes the lead from Wetmore, and what we expected to see, it happened rather quick. The 24 is back on top, and so Wetmore is going to find himself trailing back a 10th. Then you got Jacob Fife leading Nick Tarbuck, and this is an interesting conversation of racers. Nick Tarbuck and the number 36 of Jacob Fife all alongside each other. They might be very soon. That time by, Nick looked to be the quickest driver on the track, and as we come through again, he's the second quickest. Nevertheless, Nick is quick, and he's coming up faster than Jacob Fife and Tom Wetmore. We might see the number 29 end up the premier driver to contend against Bressi. if his luck prevails. Currently, Braxton going to find himself on the high side of number 8, looking to go over that same maneuver to make a pass once again. This time, he'll be the one passing, and the number 8 will be the one that is passed. Don Stevenson's going to be 19th and one of the last drivers on the lead lap right now. Strategy not playing out all too well for the number 47 today. I think he's got a lot more to offer, but for Stevenson, it looks like there's little else he can do right now. He's going to have to bank on a yellow or a significant change to strategy. Overall, Don Stevenson does not look like he has it, but that could change. We'll see what Don does in the coming laps. Nick side by side with Jacob Fife. As they go alongside each other once again, this is the battle for the podium now, not just 4th. Nick has been the biggest mover on the day, and he's been able to sustain it from 10th up to 3rd now. New man inside the podium, the number 29, and this reminder, at first of 2 chances to get the championship. Tomorrow night, you're going to see the Integrity Octane Series go back at it. It's going to be Michael Araya, Nick Tarbuck, 2 of our prime contenders. They were members of the Big 3. Then Ethan Lane left. Michael has 9 wins in the campaign. Ethan Lane has 14. Nick currently has 4. For the Octane Series, it'll be Tom Wetmore, Ross Cato, Jacob Fife, Nick Tarbuck, and Michael Laraya, the 5 going at it. So right now for Jacob Fife, it's also practice for him here to run around the number 29. Championship implications tomorrow indicate that he's going to have himself a good time running around the 29, at least for a while, but in both battles so far, he has not gotten the advantage over the 29 of Tarbuck. Nick has walked away in both instances, and now Jacob finds himself a little bit further back once again. Michael Stroll's coming up on Blake Gordon here. Blake has gotten himself back up at 8th. However, that is not necessarily due to strategy finesse. It's just due to the timing of the strategy. And you could say they're the same thing, but right now, Blake is in the clearly disadvantageous position where he is going to lose spots no matter what. His rubber is the oldest of all those in the field, coming in at about 22 laps right now. Really not a good spot to be in to gain. There's little else he can do now but to watch them all pass by. There goes Justin Morton, the number 9 is going to ride down low, and it's going to be Blake Gordon now down at the 10th. Chad Mikus making, as everyone else is, his final start of the campaign, and Mikus is a driver who I think will be must-watch in 2025. One race, I believe, separated him from being here in the Championship 5 to not making it through the first round. He missed one race. Darlington did well in Talladega, did not do well enough. That's the difference. The points were marginal, and Chad found himself on the bubble. He was the first man out. Unfortunately for Mikus, that meant that the season went down the drain a little bit earlier than expected. 3rd in the regular season points. Chad is a force to be reckoned with, especially when we talk about the future of this series, getting himself to be so consistent, remarkably consistent at that, over all types of circuits, the intermediates, the road courses, the super speedways, the short tracks. It's something that was unparalleled, his run, unlike any other. Unfortunately for the driver of the number 25, season just has not panned out in the playoffs here in a recent incident with Tom Wetmore. You might remember that. Also involved in action in the intermediates, some troubles as well. Didn't quite pan out his way, but Chad Mikus, a bright season and a significant improvement from what we saw beforehand, which of course was 2023. Coming up on him is Chuck Sweeting. This is the battle for 10th, and they still roll on as you take a look on board now with a 75. Right now, Chuck Sweeting not making any significant gains or losing anything at the same time. Track position looks to be relatively stagnant, not only in this battle, but all across the field. Up at the front of the pack, well, the Hornet's Nest is coming to play once again. Vinny Tigner catching up to Matthew Thunhorst, and at the same time, you've got Jacob Fife. Fife is like a second away now from Braxton and Tarbuck. Nick is coming up on Tom Wetmore, and now you're going to see that battle for P2. And I think we're going to be standing corrected here. Braxton has come up fast on the 29, and Tom Wetmore, he's come up on even quicker. Now, Braxton has the youngest rubber in the field. But this is where it becomes tricky. He needs to make the move you're looking at here quick. He needs to pass both Wetmore and Tarbuck at once if he wants any chance at getting up to the race lead in this cycle. Right now for Tom Wetmore, he's going to hold his number 08 up high. He's going to give Braxton a little bit of room now to slice into the middle and slot right behind Nick. Wetmore, though, going to stay up top, and that's not going to help out in the 13. Tom's going to race it up high. No trouble right now for Wetmore to stay in line, but he's going to let the 29 go. And now Nick is going to find himself back solely in second place once again. 2.7 seconds behind Thomas Bressi. He's going to have to make up at least a tenth of a second per lap to have any chance to get up to Thomas in this stint. However, so far it looks like they've been more neck and neck than anything else. Advantage is still going to be in Thomas Bressi's hands. Number 13 is going to head up top once again. There goes Braxton Weiss to the ceiling, looking for a little bit more momentum. Can't quite get anything out of it just yet, but coming down the back straightaway, definitely much quicker. Looks low, and now the 29 machine has no choice but to stay up top and stand corrected. New man in second, Braxton Weiss, third driver in 3 laps to make his way through. And it looks like now as that number 13 gets by, the 29 is right there with. Fifth place is additionally going to be Matthew Thunhorse. Once again, he's gotten himself inside the top 5. So currently, if you're championship 4, or rather, the championship 5, 4 of which are in the top 5. Running first, second, third, and fifth. Don Stevenson right now, the only exception, running much further back. And although Don is not necessarily done yet, he's in 16th and has a lot of traveling to go up the ladder for a shot at the title. But the job's not done. 73 laps in out of 134. Thomas Bressi leads the way. And for the final time this season, we would like to thank our friends and partners at NextLevelRacing.com for providing the action all year round. Once again, your champion, whether it is Thomas Bressi or any of the Championship 5, they will win a $2,000 sim rig courtesy of Next Level Racing for free. Next Level Racing provides high-quality sim racing performance products for dedicated sim racers who deserve nothing but the best. Visit nextlevelracing.com for additional information after tonight's broadcast, and we will return after the following message. Thank you for tuning in to the Next Level Racing Clash 200. We'll be right back after a word from our friends at Next Level Racing. .58 laps remain in your final race of 2024. Welcome back live on FTN to coverage of the Integrity Ignite Series Championship finale. And so far, Thomas Bressi holds command over the remainder of the field. Nick Tarbuck's going to be running now in the third position. Braxton Weiss did go by. And right now, Braxton, while slightly quicker, has a long way to go from here to get back on top. However, the strategy call looks to now be in his advantage. It looks like the younger tire is starting to come into play. And while the difference is a few 100ths of a second right now, I don't think it's going to be a complete zero non-factor situation for Braxton. He has a lot of time here, and now getting away from all those who are in his way, he's got himself a much better shot, and that's where time falls back into your hands, back into your favor. 2.5 seconds to make up, and he's going maybe half a tenth of a second quicker each and every time by. I think he's got to stay lockstep right now with Thomas if he wants to do anything else from here to make gains. That time through, he was almost a tenth of a second faster. So as that gap continues to ever so slightly diminish, I think right now Braxton's just got to focus on running trial lap times. Those hot laps, almost like qualifying hit marks back and forth. That's the best you can do. Tom Wetmore coming up now on Matthew Thunhorst once again. Vinny Tigner is here with Justin Morton. And once again, you can see now the number 9 of Morton coming right through. Looks like he's got himself almost inside the top 5, which is interesting to speak of. He was starting in 15th tonight. We didn't think he'd be up there in the top 10, but so now he's up there plus 9 on the day. Justin Morton talking about a good day for JTM. Triple top 5 on the cards and a championship to boot. That will be a dream night for this team. Their championship contenders running 1, 2, 3, 4. And now Morton trying to take that final spot in the top 5 from Tom Wetmore. Here goes the number 9, diving down low once again. The Toyota Supra up top, 08, battling with another Toyota at long last. And now the Silver Ovals find themselves on track again. Justin Morton up to 5th, talking about a good night for this team. He's back inside the top 5. Now he's got his teammate just ahead of him. 3 drivers in the top 5 for JTM. And what could have been if Justin Morton, of course, didn't have himself off first races, round of 15, could have been much better. Things went off, things went awry, things went astray. I think that's the worrying thing that came out for the 9 team. If Morton was able to execute in that opening round, we might have just seen a 3-way fight between one team for the championship. I think the problem more so comes down to the fact that execution early means maybe more than it did in the later round. If you got yourself that early buffer in the championship fight, you would be in a much better spot than those who maybe had to work for a little bit higher. That's why the drivers who started with those 20, 30-point advantages in the Octane Series, they made it in straight up. In the Ignite Series, where parity was much more normal, shall we say, you didn't see many major advantages like that. However, for the advantages you did see, maybe 5, 10, 15 points at the very most, those drivers still did prevail. That's why someone like Thomas Bresci is here. Even if he had a few down races in the playoffs in between, had to recover from some errors. It was definitely all about a solid regular season and building up to it. That's why you see right now Matthew Thunhorst right there. Jacob Fife going to weave and bob a little bit down low, but everything seems to be fine right now for the number 36 team. 52 laps to go for the Pro Power and Paint Chevrolet. All eyes on whether or not Fife can get the job done for what will be his 5th career Octane Series win, and that would come tomorrow. Right now for Jacob Fife, this is not a championship eligible race for him, of course, so he might not be backing off, but he's also going to be observing the field, doing things a little bit differently here, understanding tomorrow, same track, different circumstance, the title is on the line. Justin Morton in the number 9 here, he's getting close to Matthew Thunhorst once again. Unfortunately, we do not have camera access to the number 8 team tonight, but Matthew's been doing a solid job staying up inside the top 5, and while quiet to start, he made his way back up from as low as about the 8th position, and now cycles back up inside the top 5, a place in which he will firmly stay so long as he doesn't make any mistakes from here. 50 laps to go. That's what it comes down to. Drivers now, you're seeing a little bit more of that tire wear, 35-second laps each and every time through. Nick finds himself 3rd, Braxton in 2nd, Thomas Bresci in 1st with 50 laps remaining. Only that to get to the checkered flag. If you take a look once again inside the cockpits and inside of the virtual sim racing worlds these drivers occupy, you'll see exactly what's going on. Let's take a look first and foremost again at your race leader in Thomas Bresci here. 49 laps to go for him, and it looks like right now he is in his own world of his own, is exactly what he needs to be in. Remain focused, remain concentrated, don't worry all too much about what else is going on. The big thing right now is to continue succeeding in hitting those marks at your level. I think every driver is going to agree with that, but right now for Thomas, I think that holds especially important. The reason being, he is, of course, up and ahead. He dictates the strategy. If he messes up, it's going to impact the entire field. Right now, there is no room for error, but at the same time, there's a lot of room to just do what you need to do, and so far, he's done just that. Second place in Braxton Deweese, more of the same right now. However, Braxton has not yet necessarily made the gains he needs. He has gained about a half second. That time through, Braxton was slower, and the gap is marginal. The advantage is marginal, but it is just enough right now to stay within the confines, not only in case of an incident, but also in case of a long green flag run, the likes of which we are expecting to see, including a pit stop coming in maybe 10 to 15 laps time. Braxton currently occupies the second spot alone, nobody else to compete with him. As we take a look, very subtle movement, very minimal movement, just continuing that cycle, race in, race out. These drivers are prepared for it for 29 weeks, now to put it all to the test in these final 47 laps. Nick Tarbuck, 88 laps in, you're going to see him right here in P3, made significant gains, and now he's got the old rubber to show for it. 37 laps on this stint, older than both Thomas Bresci and Braxton Deweese alike. He's made major moves to get up here from 10th to 3rd, but right now he's almost found the peak, and he's going to plateau for a little while unless the new tire comes in soon. Luckily for Nick, it will come in very, very soon. With 46 laps to go, we are now in the pit window to go down to pit road right now. Blake Gordon just decided to, and he would be fine. Currently, 1, 2, 3 between these championship contenders. Matthew Thanos, we don't have video of once again, but Don Stevenson lies further back. I'm looking at Stevenson right now. He's going to be running in P15 and holding his own in the back half of the field here. He would again need a significant change in the strategy to really make anything of it. Unfortunately, that's just what it comes down to for Don. Not the best of nights for him, 9th to 15th, but securing a top 5 points finish when all is said and done in a few laps time. And yeah, it's only a few. We're now 90 laps in, more than halfway through, and coming up to the Centurion mark, 100 laps. Well, we're going to hit that point very, very soon. Watch out when it says 34 laps to go, because that's all it'll be, and there's no turning back the clock. We have clocked thousands of laps, thousands of miles in this Integrity Ignite Series season, one of which then we question whether or not it would be possible to perhaps outdo, surpass, and push the limit the concept of the Ignite and Octane series. Now, I think if you would ask me last year whether or not it was possible, I don't believe it would have been. We've exceeded in every metric when it comes to just the level of racing, especially in the past 15. This second half has been remarkably clean, and the average races, or rather the average caution per race, is a number that's of course firmly in the single digits. But additionally, if you've noticed, in the past 5 races, the most cautions we've had in any of which, 2. And tonight, it's been dead zero over the course of 92 laps. The driver who has traveled the most miles this season is Braxton Deweese. He finds himself a traveler of 5,062 miles and a total of 3,511 laps coming into today. So overall, for the driver of that number 13 team, he's going to do 3,645 laps. Thomas Bresci, he's one of those drivers that is up there in this category, but not necessarily to the same level of all those other championship contenders. 3,344 coming in. If he is to win the championship tonight, it will be after 3,478 laps. So far, he's gone through all but 42 of which in this journey, which, if you think about the numbers, on average, that means we've had, give or take, more than 100 laps per race, which is true. Most of these races being intermediates or short tracks, it kind of balances out those that are super speedways or road circuits. More than 100 laps per race does make sense as the average, and it has been an arduous journey since that beginning. Taking a look down low, there goes Tom Wetmore. He's going to make it in from inside the top 10. Now falling back further, Tom is one of the first real winning contenders here who has a shot to go down a pit road for the final time. Adam Wood additionally went just now down and in the silver and orange number 45, and now Adam, getting back on the way, is going to meet Tom Wetmore at the end of pit road very soon. Looks like Adam, as a matter of fact, will go by Tom Wetmore here, and to no avail for the 08 team to catch back up. Now Adam Wood comes through with Nick Tarbuck once again. They come in, it looks like it's going to be Braxton coming in from second, Nick from third, and then with them, There's also Chuck Sweeting in the 75. As more bundle in together, Thomas Bressi might just be next up to head to pit road. And that he is. Thomas Bressi, 40 laps to go, going to make the move down for its final pit stop of the season. Looks like everything's going to be buckled down just right. Minimal cause for concern, and the number 24 makes the move in. Tom Wetmore is going to go rather slow through turns 3 and 4 there. Almost looked like he was going down to pit road again. Missed the mark. Chad Mikas now going to come through in the 25. You're also going to see Alan Rowell, 39 laps to go. Now this second bundle comes in together 96 laps in out of 134. Less than 40 laps left. There's the number 25. Meanwhile, Justin Morton now has a new race lead, and we'll see what he does with it. 43 laps into this stint. Morton, little incentive right now to go in. Little incentive to do all of anything. Anything he does, it shouldn't make too much difference on the championship. Question becomes, of course, what he's going to do from here. Justin Morton leads. Michael Stroll, Rob Ackley, the teammates for DIR, are going to pit road once again. And so now, with all the domination, intimidation, racing drivers of the day coming in, that's going to leave Justin Morton, Matthew Thunhorst, the JTM drivers up and advantageous. Vinny Tigner's going to be third, Jacob Fife in fourth. A total now of 9 drivers remaining out and going all the way back down to Gael Brooks in the 71. Jacob Fife just went in. He's going to come into the 4th spot. And you got Brian McFerrin in 5th, Don Stevenson in the 6th place, and then 7th is going to be Brendan Bernhardt. Now it looks like as Jacob makes his way through a 49 lap for him stint, one of the longest of which I think Kyle Cooper might have just taken the cake. He's gone 52 laps so far and is due to go for a 53rd here. Kyle stretching it long in the number 73 and brand new look in the Pitbull Chevrolet, and a driver with many looks this season, most of which have involved a flat white or flat black look. That's something we'll discuss in a few moments' time. Justin Morton, Vinny Tigner, Matthew Thunhorst all coming in, and your net championship leader, Thomas Bressi. Braxton Deweese gained a second on him. However, right now is Braxton with the tire disadvantage. Thomas Bressi 1 lap younger. Braxton Deweese 1 lap, or rather 1 second closer to the 24. So now the championship battle perhaps as balanced as it's been all night long. All of a sudden it looks like Thomas Bressi might just have a chance to get away and go from the number 13 here on out, though. It looks like Braxton has less room to travel, less distance to travel to make it up. These two are back in the same frame once again, riding on board with the number 13, and you will see it. Thomas Bressi is there. He's riding right down low. Will Braxton have an incentive now to push hard? Or is he going to let Thomas do the pushing and try to come back to him later in the run here? This is a big decision, and it is a championship make or break decision here with 100 laps in on the day. Thomas Bressi right now is going to find himself the net race leader again. Don Stevenson will be the final man to go down and in. So the last of the championship contenders will be the last of the men to pit road. Number 47 is up next, and we'll see how much longer he decides to hold it out. 35 laps to go here for Don Stevenson, and I can imagine he's going to hold out for a miracle perhaps, but there's nothing much that can be done in his position right now. Time will continue to pass by, and there's nothing else that can be done for Don Stevenson of the 47 team. However, for I think both Braxton Deweese and Thomas Bressi, they know this is now when time matters the most. Even if it does pass by, you got to make use of each and every second. Right now, I think Thomas Bressi has had the advantage in just that. He's currently going to have Braxton Deweese led by 1.3 seconds. So he's very slowly, but still surely made his move, gotten the advantage ahead of Braxton Deweese. And I think now, as if he continues to gain at that rate, it will be a safe and stable advantage, even if Thomas burns his stuff up before Braxton does. 33 laps to go here. Down low, there goes the number 36 of Jacob Fife once and again. And now we come down to the final stretch. More than 100 laps in. in once more. And with Don Stevenson leading, let's take a look at the top 10 as it stands. Stevenson, your net race leader, just behind him. That is Thomas Bresci. Third place, Braxton Deweese. Fourth is going to be Nick Tarbuck, and then Tom Wetmore's in P5. We've got Al Brooks in sixth, Justin Morton in seventh. Eighth place for Chad Mikas. Ninth then for Chuck Sweeting, and P10 is Matthew Thunhorst in the number 8. For the final time this year, we're going to say, of course, a little bit of a break is in mind, and it's going to be courtesy of NextLevelRacing.com for high-quality sim racing performance products for dedicated sim racers who deserve nothing but the best. Visit NextLevelRacing.com. In 32 laps time, Thomas Bresci, Braxton Deweese, Nick Tarbuck, Matthew Thunhorst, or Don Stevenson. One of those 5 will come away with a championship prize, a $2,000 sim rig, courtesy of Next Level Racing. Visit their website today at nextlevelracing.com for more information. And for the final time this season, we'll give you a promotional break from our friends, the official premier partner of the Integrity Racing League, Next Level Racing. We'll go ad-free from here. .29 laps remaining and counting down. Thomas Bresci just got across the stripe for lap 107, and so that makes it only a total of 28 laps to go. Time going to continue to tick down in the favor of all drivers, including the 24. So far, Thomas Bresci, of course, has been the dominant man in this championship race. Didn't qualify with the pole position, but taking that lead away from Braxton Deweese early has proven critical. So far, only a second and a tenth back for Braxton. He's maintained a constant gap, but a constant gap is not good enough because he has not, simply put, made anything up. That's the problem right now. It does not look like anyone's been able to really make up anything so far. This number 24 team has been on top of its game and then some. Now, Justin Morton's going to be looking low on Tom Wetmore, and talking about a surprise race. Justin Morton coming back one final time, and he is perhaps his best form all season long. We know that Justin has gotten it done for victory lane podiums of 4 at the ovals and non-ovals alike, but for Justin to come through from 15th up to 4th in a 100-plus lap green flag run, exquisite job by the 9 team to not only make these changes and adapt up, but also to understand what it takes to do so. A lot of support for that JTM team. We've mentioned the big team in the championship fight, sending 2 drivers in. Justin Morton, one of those who I'm sure thinks that he could be a championship contender right alongside the ranks if things are to pan out in the proper direction for the crew. Now it's going to be Jacob Fife coming up there with the number 75 of Chuck Sweeting. Looks low. Here comes the 36. It's the fight for 9th, and not much a fight at all. Jacob Fife, the advantage in tire, is going to carry him through. Here goes Jacob Fife in 9th, Chuck Sweeting up in 10th. Vinny Tigner going to be P11 here, and here comes Vinny trying to go for another top 10. Will be his final of which on the season, of course. With 25 laps remaining, he's run a little bit higher than the top 10 bubble all night long, so a surprise to see him here. But it looks like Vinny's going to decide to go for perhaps the longer-term strategy of running the second stint out, then undercutting and going from here. Don Stevenson has disconnected for the night. He'll be the first retiree and the only retiree of the day. Don will call it a season and finish 5th in the championship standings as a result. Blake Gordon is in 14th. Cody Smith in P13, both of which running modestly tonight. Blake, unfortunately, not able to fully turn around that comeback idea of going for longer stints. It looks like right now he finds himself too far out to really go for any position gains. 24 laps to go for Thomas Bressi. Adam Wood is the next man behind him, and Braxton Deweese is now fading back. Thomas, both seasons before, second place in the championship, and it looks like tonight has been the complete opposite. Well, you might remember DJ Stagner didn't dominate like Alec Daffin did in that final round. What it really came down to was the fact that DJ just had a slightly better race than Thomas Bressi. The battle between them in the championship standings came down to 2 points. And DJ had a wreck on pit road as well. And still, he came out of the championship with the win after 300 miles. 200 miles tonight, and they've been run all caution-free so far. Thomas Bressi looking to be the man that gets the job done as we're going to come across the line with 22 laps to go. Let's crank it up with the best cameras on the market, TrackCams22.com, providing the best angles all year long. From Daytona in February to here and now tonight, they've had our back on FTN, and they've given us a wonderful season to watch with the most realistic camera angles in sim racing. We'll return after a message with 22 laps to go from our friends at TrackCams22.com. Let's crank it up here in Homestead. The final 16 laps await now for Thomas Bressi and team, but not, of course, without a final challenge. Now, Braxton Luis is still within 2 seconds, although it's been a hard-fought fight. Braxton has not yet been shaken off. The unfortunate thing for the number 13 team just comes down to Tire. Made that gamble and the strategy call to go for a little bit of that older rubber, and while not that much slower, a tenth of a second off per lap is still too much to lose when you're already far behind. Vinny Tigner now side by side here with Tom Wetmore once again. Also, Chad Mikus in the mix. Chad coming back up after starting in 14th today. Haven't spoken much of Chad, but look at him now inside the top 10. Looks like he decided to go for the young rubber late, as did Jacob Fife, and starting to reap the benefits of just that, as the 25 team lies just ahead of Michael Stroll. You'll see Tom Wetmore right now still going to find himself in the 7th spot. Vinny Tigner's gotten up in a 6th, and we mentioned we thought he was a little bit above the cusp for the top 10, and he's proven it, and now he finds himself on the cusp of a top 5. Granted, Matthew Thornhorse is 3 seconds up. It's going to be pretty tricky for Vinny to get there, but as it stands, he's made up the gains to get inside the top 10 and stay there firmly, which is a good spot to be in to start. Fife now 8th. It's going to be Michael Stroll in 9th, and Chad Mikus is still trying to make his way through, make a dent to get the P10. Laps remaining. Time is ticking down. Justin Morton's going to be 6.5 tenths back right now on Nick Tarbuck. Looks like he's gotten even closer to the podium than before. Thomas Bressi disconnected from the race lead as your championship leader. The number 24 disconnected due to download packet loss. Your new championship leader is Braxton Luis. 13 laps to go. Unbelievable turn of events. That will end Thomas Bressi's season. Braxton Luis leads with 12 now laps to go. Internet failure at the last moment. And we're going to take a look back here to show what just happened as the 24 unsuspectingly just drops off the face of the earth. Take a look at this. This is on board, or rather watching the 24 of Bressi. Thomas Bressi's season goes out in a flash. Take a look at this. Gone. And so now, Braxton Luis is in a position where the championship is in effect his. Unless there's a yellow flag, Braxton is in the perfect spot to usurp and hold on to what he's got left. Championship for Braxton Luis now just within sight. 11 laps to go. For Thomas Bressi, I cannot imagine what's going on for that JTN team, and moreover, what's going on for Thomas Bressi. What a season he put together. And what a fight it was between he and Braxton to get wiped away by internet troubles. Thomas is joining back in now. We'll see if he gets back on the track at all. Time is running out. He's now in 19th, 3 laps down. I don't think anything else can be done now for that 24 team. It's a hardware failure. After 30 races, after 3,350 plus laps, hardware goes out in the final 20 of the season. Nick Tarbuck might be the final man now eligible to go out there and battle to try to take that championship from him. And it's almost like the signal being given to go out there and fight like your season depends on it. Now Nick Tarbuck 2.2 seconds back. That time by, he was still slower than Braxton Luis. Matthew Thornhorse just went down to pit road for the final time, 26 laps in. And it looks like almost a concession pit stop there for the number 8 team. Interesting to see why that's the case in a few moments' time. 9 laps to go. Braxton Luis leads. Justin Morton and Nick Tarbuck are up on top. They're going to be fighting for second here, and it looks like Nick is going to lose that to the JTM driver in the number 9. Benny Tigger now lies in 4th. Highest spot he's been in all throughout the playoff campaign. Maybe a chance to steal a top 3 if he can just build up that gap on the pack behind him and get up to pack number 2. He's still 5.5 back on Nick Tarbuck, and it looks like that gain will not be positive. Justin Morton is in 2nd here, and now JTM once again has a top 3 driver. Thomas Bressi is back on the track, and he is 4 laps down. He's going to finish out the season here, but it looks like the championship is going to slip away from a factor out of his own control. Horrible news for that team, one that has been fighting all throughout 2023 and 2024 to just possibly collect a championship, and what a way to lose it. 7 laps to go here, and while it will be despair for the 24 team, I cannot imagine the eventual joy we're going to see here for the number 13 of Braxton Deweese. Your championship leader now is going to be up and away by 1.6 seconds relative to Justin Morton, and it looks like that's all he's going to need to hang on for the checkered flag and win this championship. Unless we see a freak incident right now, Braxton is in prime position to get the job done. And nothing is a guarantee now, as you just saw. Things could change. So far for Braxton, things have gone just fine. Six laps to go, racing down the back straightaway. It's going to be right now the number 13 team, Allen's Art Images, up and ahead. Nick Tarbuck is 2nd place right now in the title fight and 3rd place overall on the circuit. 2.3 seconds back. I wonder if Nick's strategy would have changed if he knew this was going to happen. And I think that's a hypothetical that would have changed the season if, of course, that's what it came down to. On the right side of your screen, Braxton Deweese. On the left side of your screen, we're watching the TV feed of the race, so you'll see every angle of the championship when it is won. Look further back, and you're going to see that number 36 of Jacob Fife. There's the number 3 again of Michael Stroll. They're right on each other. They're still going to be battling right now. This is the battle for the 6th place, one that Michael Stroll has, and it's still something Jacob Fife is looking for. Chad Mikas is going to be in 8th. He got ahead of both Chuck Sweeting and Rob Ackley alike. Looks like little else has come of it, though, for Mikas, and while he got close to the battle, looks like right now Chad is going to once again be at the tail end of it. Further on back, you're going to see a few battles, including Brian McFerrin trying to get up there to Cody Smith. Thomas Bressi, again, he's on the track here, catching up to Gael Brooks and Matthew Thunhorse, but really, not more can be said or done, as the number 24 is very far behind now, and the championship race changing in a blink of an eye. Something we did not expect to see in the slightest, and it's not a yellow flag that changed the tide, but internet connection and a virtual disconnect will be the difference between one championship win and another. Braxton Deweese has come across the line to make it 3 laps to go. Watching now on the right side of your screen, it's the number 13. We got his in-cockpit camera and, of course, what's happening on the virtual track. Justin Morton has gotten close, but is not yet close enough for the win, nor is he close enough to get the championship with regard to points. Braxton is now in the position where the title would be in his hands if he hangs on for 8 more corners. Now, 2 laps to go for Braxton Deweese and the number 13 team. Coming back this season, we remember Braxton had a brief stint in 2023. While not necessarily a rookie, he's proven it to be so much more beyond the speed of last year, and he's put together consistency in a different degree as well. Coming into this campaign, I'm not sure if we maybe expected Braxton to be that championship winner. Well, we were all surprised to see he was the regular season champion at long last. He came away and dominated the opening half of the tour, and with 10 races to go, it could have been anyone's race for the title. He made it to the final 10. He made it to the final 5. He has now made it to the final lap. Braxton Deweese, the driver who has gone through the most miles in this series, the driver who's made it to each and every race, and the driver who's traveled for the most laps. From the high banks of Daytona back to Florida once again in Homestead-Miami, the last lap is here and now after 3,645 laps and a year's worth of racing. Braxton Deweese is coming home 2024 Ignite Series champion. The number 13 team wins. Braxton Deweese is your champion in the Next Level Racing Class 200. Grand prize winner, championship winner, your 2024 Season has concluded, and its most consistent driver, the World Traveler, gets it done. Braxton Deweese, winner for 2024. Fourth win, tied for the most in the season. And it'll be his 19th top 10, his 12th top 5 to go with pole number 8. And a miraculous turn of events, the number 13 is a champion and a winner one last time this year. The motor blows, and so ends the celebration, at least on track. What a win for the number 13 team, and we'll be due to speak with your race winner very soon. Braxton Deweese gets the job done, champion for 2024 and his 4th win of the season. Then you got Justin Morton in 2nd and 3rd place in Nick Tarbuck, with Vinny Tigner 4th, Tom Wetmore 5th, and Michael Stroll in the 6th position. Jacob Fife is going to be 7th, and Chad Michaels will then and there be in 8th, with Chuck Sweeting P9 and Rob Ackley rounding out the top 10. 11th place and just beyond the 16-second threshold Rob Ackley was. P11 is then and there going to be Cody Smith, Brian McFerrin, and Blake Gordon. Positions 11, 12, and 13, the final drivers to finish on the lead lap this year. Kyle Cooper, 1 lap down, finishes 14th. So does Adam Wood and Gael Brooks alike. Thomas Bresci, after a heartbreaking internet disconnection failure, comes back 4 laps down after leading more than 100 laps today en route to what could have been a championship. Matthew Thunhorst finishes in 19th. Alan Rawell in 20th, 19 laps down. And then from there, your last retirees go as follows. You'll have Don Stevenson, 28 down, Cal Filarski, 97 laps back, John Steele, 98 laps back, and Boomer Logan, 137 laps down. Your final 2024 drivers, 24 of which the track in your championship finale. What a win for Braxton Deweese, and I'm sure one that might have been less expected as the night went on. Nevertheless, he came through and capitalized. Let's speak to your championship winner for 2024. We'll talk to all your top 3 and figure out what's going on through their minds as we end another fantastic season. Let's get a word now with a driver, of course, who brings away 2 accolades in one night of racing. Braxton Deweese getting the job done and winning in the 2024 title. It came down to the final 10 laps, and just being there at the right time made all the difference. Braxton Deweese, you are the 2024 Ignite Series champion. How does it feel coming away with the big prize at the end of a season?
It feels damn good to be the champion, just from what you worked from the start of the season all the way throughout, and to the end of the season, being regular season champion and just trying to be there as much as you can. I felt like I would be a little more excited given if we would have won it on pace and stuff. We had that problem there and we bounced back a couple seconds, and after that happened, I was just like, I don't know what I need to do from here other than have a caution to have a chance. So, we gained a lot of time. We put it up early. We were able to get about a second and a half behind them, but that was pretty much all it rode. There wasn't, much I could do. It just, like I said, it feels pretty good, but given the circumstance we wanted, and it's kind of unfortunate, but you'll take them how you can get them. So, like I said, we both had our problems with the internet. It's just crazy. I hadn't seen him have that problem, and myself, I hadn't had that problem at all. And if it happens, I'll blink for maybe 1,000, 1,002, and it'll come back. It never really holds that long. Usually if it's like that, you're gone. So, um, luckily I was able to keep it rolling. Granted, we got pushed back a couple seconds, like I said, but um, just being able to catch some luck there at the end. Like I said, take them how you can get them.
And taking it as it was tonight, you mentioned strategy is such a big deal, and you made a daring strategy call at the end to try to catch up before everything happened to the final 15 or so laps there. Could you walk us through the importance of the tires tonight?
Yeah, you definitely wanted to make sure you didn't burn off the rear so you could have some drive off, but you also didn't want to burn off the right front so you could still have the drive in. So it was very tedious. I ran a Xfinity race here about a month or two ago. I think it was 2 months ago, and the track temp was a lot hotter, and it was honestly a lot better to drive. It wasn't as tight on entry. You really had to just worry about your rears, and that personally suited me a lot better. But um, you know, Bressie and I, we really had some good pace. I was, behind him about a tenth of a second for a while, and we were just pulling away. We ended up pulling away about 2.5 to 3 seconds, just me and him. So, um, it's unfortunate what happened to him, but like I said, I'm um, still happy and still proud that we were able to come up with it.
And able to come away with the championship, 4 wins on the season, 8 pole positions, a wonderful campaign to come back to the Integrity Ignite Series 2025, a few months down on the horizon. You think you're going to come back and try to defend that title?
Most definitely. Big shout out to Stroll. I gave him a text after I was going through some rough times by my own doing, just being an idiot. And, it was definitely a great wake up call. I feel like um, it's good sometimes to have a wake up call. It's not good, for the actions or whatever, but just in general, just to have that, is definitely important. And I'm glad I was able to learn from it, improve from it, and have a pretty good year of racing, be able to get back to it, and I just definitely want to give a big shout out to Stroll for letting me come back, but um, just just proud to be back, and looking forward to next year, and hopefully we can repeat. But this year was definitely a good one, so we definitely have to make sure we stay up on our A game with all the updates of how the cars are, with the setups, and just everything in general. So we'll see what we can do.
And so, ending a championship campaign, one where you were most definitely the regular season champion, one of the championship favorites coming in and capitalized when it mattered most. Braxton Weiss, the title is yours this season. Any final thoughts you'd like to give out?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a big shout out to Allen's Arts Images on a car, Randy Allen and Kelly Allen. Big shout out to them. We've got a couple championships, I believe. I know we have one championship. Yeah, we actually got two. I had a super late model, and then we had a Gen 6 one with them on the car at the end of the season. So um, big shout out to them. Happy we were able to give them another one, and as well as the rest of the sponsors of Interstate Ford, Bennett's Public James on Main, Dewey's Renovations, Booth 34 Diecast, and Rabbit's Photography, Blaze Designs, as well as Evan Pineda Designs, and Bullet Dog Coffee Company. You can use Brax5 for 10% off over there, and give some love to the champion. Use that code a little bit. That definitely helps everybody out. Just to try it out if you like coffee and just want to try something out, and all the ingredients, whatnot, suits you. So um, give that a check out. It's just www.bulletdogcoffeecompany.com. Pretty simple there. But like I said, you can use Brax5 for 10% off over there, and definitely probably gonna hit me a little bit later more that we want it, but all in all, definitely looking forward to going back and watching the race that we had, and just big thanks to everybody that was adminning, everybody that raced, and everybody that tuned into the broadcast as well as my live stream. I feel like we have a pretty good group here, and that's like quote unquote what we've been saying, a lot of us in the Discord. So that's always good to have, and hopefully we add a couple more, and they come in here, and everything's chill and cool, and hopefully some people come back, and hopefully everything everything you want everything just to improve as it goes on, and it's it's gonna be pretty good if that does. So looking forward to it.
Braxton Deweese, 2024 champion here, and to add to that, race winner in the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Thank you again for your time, and congratulations to your championship.
I appreciate it, David. Have a good one.
Braxton on the way. We'll talk to your second place driver right up next. That is the number 9 of Justin Morton. Biggest mover on the day, and for JTM, a fantastic run for the 9 team, although what happened for the team, of course, fighting for the championship. It's a shock that Justin comes away with the quickest and best finishing position of all those in his operation. Justin Morton coming through from 15th up to 2nd today. Biggest mover. Hard charger. It was a race where you had to come from the bottom with no breaks in between to finish on top of the podium. How was it out there in Homestead for another podium finish to wrap up the year?
Yeah, it felt pretty good. Homestead's one of the tracks I always look forward to running. I seem to really be able to run that bottom line the entire way through the entire run, and some people just seem to have to move up, and I think I kind of just had a little bit better just being able to just keep it on that white line. First off, I just want to say that it sucks to see what happened to Bressie there at the end. I just have to get that out of the way since he's my teammate.
You, JTM, coming through for the championship fight. We saw, of course, Don Orstand, Bressie up in the mix, but for you, you found yourself in a different position. You're talking about chasing after a race victory more than anything else. Starting back in 15th, I'd have to ask, conditions changed a lot. You think the nighttime racing more so suited the way you were going at it?
Yeah, I think the track sort of came to me. It also helped that I was going on, I was doing overcuts every time, so I think it exaggerated a little bit how much better over a long run I was. But it just, yeah, it kind of just came to me. Kind of just learned how to race and just seeing what other people are doing, just changing what I was doing to improve myself.
And it looks like all that improvement working out toward the very end. 35 lap stint, shorter than all those around you. It looked like you were catching up perhaps to Braxton and Thomas to maybe go out there and fight for the victory. I'd have to ask, and when it comes to the undercut, you think maybe a little bit more time would have been just enough?
No, because then I would have been even further behind and had to have caught up more. I think that the overcut for me was just about right. Maybe could have gone one lap less. It would have taken a lot for me to get up to Braxton and Bressie. But it kind of worked to my favor, just trying to work my way up to him.
Nevertheless, coming away with a very solid position at that. Second place to end 2024. And up next, of course, 2025, a campaign. Well, we might see you back. You think you're going to return for another season of action?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be back. This is a great group to race with. I've loved being here for I think this was our second year. Yeah, our second year total. So I love running with this group. There's a bunch of great guys in here. Everybody is respectful. We may butt heads times, but we're racers. We get over it. We move on. It's a really good group here that's been put together by the admins and just everybody in general.
And everything works out just right to finish this season off strong. Justin Morton, the 9 team, coming away with a second place finish. If you have any final comments you'd like to give out, the floor is yours.
Oh yeah, I like to just congratulate Braxton. He was great all season, and he made it there in the end, and just worked out for him. So congratulations to him. Shout out to Bressie. Unfortunate I really think he had that race in the bag, but it is what it is. And Matt, I know he was a little disappointed about how his night went. He was really one. I know he really wanted to do better, and I know he definitely is better. And I don't think tonight was his showed off his best. So I know he'll be thirsty for the next season to show what he's truly got. Thanks to all the admins who run this league and put everything together. That have to deal with our crap for a full year. And thank you for doing the broadcasting. We really appreciate it. You do a great job.
Justin Morton, a great way to end the campaign for JTM, coming away with a top 3 finish here from the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Thank you once more for stopping by.
Thank you.
Justin Morton on the way, one last driver. Number 4, well, you'll see him tomorrow night contending for a championship in that car. But today, for Nick Tarbuck, it's the number 29 team. Getting that first taste of chasing after a championship and coming away second in the points in the end of the night. I know tomorrow you got another chance to chase after the checkered flag, getting some good practice in these first 134 laps of the championship week. Nick, third place, how's it feel?
Yeah, man, it's I don't know. I felt like I was just chasing Braxton and Bressie all race. Bressie was able to pull out to like a 4 or 5 second advantage over me at times, and Braxton was a lot faster as well. So I was really just chasing them and hoping they'd make a mistake. Unfortunately, I didn't think the mistake would be Bressie's choice of internet provider or whatever happened. That's terrible for him. I mean, that's insane. I think the whole race lobby let out a collective like, oh my god, when that happened. But congrats to Braxton. He dominated all season. He really deserves to win a championship as well. And yeah, I'm just glad that I was able to hang in there and not screw anything up and just come top 3 in the race and second place in championship. Really. As for how it goes tomorrow, it's another challenge, different car, but same track, I think. So it should at least help me practice for that a little bit.
And we mentioned that talking about the future, but we'll get to that point first and foremost after we talk about 134 laps here today. 29 teams starting tonight in 10th, up to 3rd of the championship contenders. You qualified last of which, so you had the disadvantage to start with, but you built up some quick ground. First 50 laps, found yourself fighting inside the top 5 rather early. How was it for you as the sun set, trying to make those early moves to get in the battle?
Yeah, it's not optimal, obviously, to start that far back, especially when, everybody that's fighting for a championship's in front of you. But it really was a good learning lesson, I think, because it means you have to pass people to get up there. And I figured out how to run different lines and I learned that I was definitely faster than most, which was a good confidence builder. And by that point, when I'd finally gotten past everybody's, when I was kind of running similar lap times to Braxton and Bressie, and I'm like, okay, this is going to work out pretty well. But after the first pit stop, it just was like, wow, these guys are way faster. They were able to hold, I guess, just a little less heat in their rear tires, and they were able to get more grip off the corner. And I just could not be as consistently smooth and save as much tire as they could to really just to keep the grip levels as long as they did. And I think I just wasn't as fast as them anyway in terms of just raw pace. But I do like how at least I kind of started in 10th and had to get up through the field a little bit and made it a little bit more fun than just kind of me starting in 3rd and then just staying in 3rd the whole race. That's, I guess a silver lining there.
And able to make it through. You mentioned getting those gains to finish inside the top 3 to finish off your first attempt here in championship week. Up next, you got some lessons learned, got some laps down. Championship action continues tomorrow on the Octane Series. How are you feeling about your chances maybe to do it with the Gen 4s?
Yeah, man, it's going to be another probably good shot. It's going to be probably another day of saving the rear tire. And I think that I can do that a lot better now that I know how this track runs, at least at the current day and age. A bit of a different car, but it should be similar principles. I think that the competition is going to be stiff in that league. I already know that Lariah is going to come, prepared and ready to go, as well as everybody else in the top 5. So it's going to be a battle, I think. I always like to say, man, I think I say this every week. I do this for fun. So if I end up doing well and winning the championship or winning a race or doing whatever, then it's great. But I just do it for fun. So I just hope that tomorrow night's a good race and a good showing by the league. Hopefully, a lot of people come out and support the league in the last race of the season. And yeah, if I win a championship that'd be awesome. But if not, I just want to get a good result again.
So the end of the championship battle tonight and Monday leads to what's next. Good way to kick off this final week. 3rd place in the race, 2nd of the championship. Nick Tarba coming through once again on the podium. Any last messages you'd like to give out?
Yeah, man. Well, I want to thank you for broadcasting. As always, it's been a great show this season. We'll close it out strong tomorrow night, I'm sure. I'd like to thank the admins for putting on a good race and a good season for the Monday Night League. I'd like to thank all the members for coming out every week and putting on a great show and racing very competitively but very fairly. I want to thank everybody who tuned in, my mom, my dad, my wife, everybody in the chat that joined, Eden, Josh, Ethan, everybody that showed up to support us. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll do it tomorrow night, give one more shot, and then I guess we'll go to off season.
tonight, an early and good start to what's next to come. 134 laps brings you to third place tonight, Nick, from the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Thank you for stopping by.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
And with the 29 team on the move, you've heard from your top 3 championship contenders. The Integrity Racing League, one more race to go, and a great night to end what has been a fantastic season. 30 full races, the longest Ignite Series season on the record so far, and through all the action, thousands of miles across the virtual world and beyond. We're going to move on to 2025. That's what's up next on the horizon. Monday Night Racing will be rather empty without the Ignite Series for the next coming weeks, but we're due to return as soon as possible. FTN action will continue with the Integrity Octane Series tomorrow, and that's, of course, where we're going to see very familiar drivers battle one last time this year. The Ignite Series in its second year of operation, another wonderful season. We'd like to thank Jacob Fife, league owner, and the entire admin staff for bringing us back live on FTN Broadcasting. I've been David Kreutz, commentating and producing. If you would like to learn a little bit more about this league, scan the QR code on your screen and you can join the FTN Broadcasting Discord server with information about each and every broadcast and every league that we work with, including the Integrity Racing League. For more than 12 years now, the Integrity Racing League has defined sim racing done right, and that has been truer than ever with the Ignite Series in this year. Caution-free finish to the championship, and more than 25% of races run caution-free. Minimal yellow flag, full-on green flag racing from beginning to end this year. The Ignite Series and, of course, the Octane Series on Tuesdays have been the example for simulation racing leagues all throughout the global racing scene. And once again, that proves true. We've been honored once again to come back for 2024 and are looking forward with anticipation to what's up next to come. We'd like to congratulate Braxton Deweese in his championship win, the number 13 team converting for win number 4 on the season, 17 individual drivers winning at least one race over 30 events of action. We'll be back from the high banks of Daytona next February with the Integrity Ignite Series on FTN, and we hope you're back tomorrow night to finish off the Octane Series Championship at the Homestead-Miami Speedway as well. From the virtual Homestead, Florida, you've been watching the Integrity Ignite Series live exclusively on FTN. We'd like to thank Next Level Racing, the premier partner of the Integrity Racing League, for the championship prize and all the incentive and support to get to this point. From FTN Broadcasting and the Integrity Racing League, we thank you for tuning in to 2024's coverage. We congratulate our 2024 champ, Braxton Deweese, and we hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you next year.